When you're a fan of a baseball team and you watch every single day, again, something we're all guilty of, we pick it apart, right? We know all their warts. We know their deficiencies. We obsess over the back end of the roster. I got to be honest with you. As much as I like Will Benson, I really can't work up the heart to make a real convincing argument that Will Benson should be here. I'm tired of talking about the back end of the roster, but it's not that it doesn't matter, because this team's depth has often been tested this year, and at times it has failed. But we obsess over what they don't do. They're not good against lefties. They've got some holes on offense. Their corner production at first base wasn't very good. CES has been a massive flop. There are some guys who got off to slow starts whose collective seasons aren't great. We're waiting for other players to take another step forward. We pick apart bullpen usage and every maneuver by the manager. That's what we do as baseball fans. And at times, and I will admit, it could take a real negative tone. Sometimes, though, you have to step away from all that and give credit where it's due, and this team deserves it. Because I cannot tell you, and maybe it's a social media thing more than anything else, where the tendency is to overreact to everything. But how many times this year has it felt like the Reds have lost the kind of game that just emotionally feels like it could send them into a downward spiral? How many times this year has it felt like the loss the night before or the loss that day was, quote, the beginning of the end? How many times this year has it felt like, because they lose 2 or 3 in a row, it feels like the season is kind of, as I always say, teetering on the brink? Almost every single time they have figured out a way to bounce back. Last night they had to do it in the face of even more adversity when they faced a bunch in and in the aftermath of that game in Bristol. For the second straight day, they had to turn to their bullpen in the second inning last night. This time they have to do it on the road against a good offensive club. They hold the Cubs to 3 hits. They figure out a way to win the ball game. They gain a game on San Diego. They gain a game on New York. 3 back with 49 to go is not insignificant, but it's clearly not insurmountable. If you told me I had to bet my house on the Reds making the postseason or not making the postseason, I would bet on them not. And I'm sorry to do that. Again, I hope I'm dead wrong. If I made that bet, I would want to lose my house. And we can discuss, and we'll continue to discuss, what they've done at the deadline and the composition of the roster, and have they successfully made the kind of upgrades we were hoping for? Is leaning into defense with Ke'Bryan Hayes going to pay off? How much risk are they incurring long-term because he's here the rest of the decade? By adding one guy who crushes lefties, have they rectified their issue against left-handed pitching? What do they do in the short term in the starting rotation without Nick Lodolo? What are they going to do long-term once Nick Lodolo comes back and Hunter Green is here? All different things we can discuss and will discuss. And this will be the fun part, I hope, over the next 6-7 weeks. But like last night, man, I'm sorry. You had to tip your cap. As cliche as that sounds, as stupid as it sounds, as hokey as it sounds. So many times this year, and maybe it's just me, but so many times this year, it has felt like, boy, you know what? After that loss yesterday, they need tonight. The way they lost the game on Sunday, on the heels of that devastating loss on Thursday night, where they scored 8 runs to tie the game in the 8th inning, it has felt like just over the last couple of days, like this season's about to kind of get sideways, and they have bounced back every single time.